I'm Jimmy Evans. I've got an encouraging word for you today because, marriage still works. I know a lot of people, are wondering about the institution of marriage, but listen, marriage still works and you can succeed in marriage. But listen, in Genesis 2:24, God gave the laws of marriage. And the first law of marriage is the law of priority. God said, "For this cause a man shall leave his father and mother." It's the first thing God ever said about marriage. And what that means isn't just in the relationship that a man and woman would have with his or her parents. It is, in order for marriage to work, it has to be first. Before we get married, our parents are the most important relationship in our lives. And what God is saying in Genesis 2:24 is, if your marriage is going to work, it has to be the first priority in life. And that's the truth. Marriage only works if it's the first priority. The only thing more important than our marriage is our relationship with Christ. But marriage has to be more important than our parents. And it doesn't mean that we forsake our parents. It just means we reprioritize that relationship. It also means it has to be more important than work, children, sports, all the other kind of things like that. Marriage only works if it's in first place. And typically what happens is we get married and we fall in love, by the way, when we're dating and early in our married life because we're focused on each other and we're prioritizing each other. But as the marriage continues, many times what happens is we just get into bad habits and work gets in front of marriage, children get in front of marriage, all those kinds of things. See, typically the things that really hurt marriages aren't bad things, they're good things out of priority. But I just want to remind you that the only way that marriage works is when it's in first place. God says in Exodus 34:14, it's an interesting thing. God says His name is jealous. That's an interesting thing. God isn't just a jealous God. He says His name is jealous. Well, here's what happens in marriage. When we get married, we automatically know that we should have a relationship with our spouse first, before work, before children, before anything else. But did you know when our spouse puts something else in front of us or we put something in front of them, we become jealous in a legitimate manner? I mean, jealousy can be wrong, but jealousy is a protective emotion that keeps us focused on a relationship and fighting for that relationship. And when God says He's a jealous God, what He's saying is, I'm not going to give you up. You belong to me first, and I'm not going to give you up to anybody else. I'm going to fight for the relationship. But see, a lot of our fights in marriage are because we're saying to each other, you've given me up for something else. I know you tell me you love me, but you're putting work first. You're putting golf first. You're putting your friends first. And I want you back. And I want you to understand something, and that is marriage only works when it's in first place. It's a law of marriage. It's the first law of marriage. My question to you is your marriage first? If it's not, you can repair that. Tell your spouse you're sorry and begin to work on your marriage again.